Hi, this is Jacob with TFcast. Today we have with us Pete Klug, a local musician. And could you introduce us to some of your projects, Pete?
Yeah, my name's Pete. Again, I got just my Pete Klug solo acoustic thing. I write all the songs for that, play all the guitar. And then I got Just Mirlyn. I write all the songs for that and play guitar. And then I got Brent Berg and Chris Bertrand on. And then I'm in Poor Lemuel, and then Balm Fields, and Watermelon Slush, and then Nirvana.
What is that? Six
so.
or seven? I lost track.
I guess I don't know.
It's a lot of bands, but what kind of music do you typically focus on when you're writing your own songs?
Blues, rock. It's really very based off of blues and stuff like that. A lot of country, western styles too, in the last few years.
Mm-hmm. And what you're writing is this is stuff that comes from. It's inspired by experiences that you've had, or
my perception of people, the world, and sometimes I like to show just a little glimpse of my perception. Basically.
Mm-hmm. Well,
how do you get started with writing something?
Sometimes a line that I say just out of the experience that I just had or was just thinking about that I have had just pops up and repeats, and I'm like, oh, that's good, I gotta write that down. And then I might let it sit for a month or a year, or I might sit down and write it all day, just depending on whatever, I don't know. But it'll just come at some point, and I'll sit down and build off of it. And sometimes I might just get a verse done or a verse and a chorus, and then I'm just get stuck. The well is tapped, and I got to move on to another song or do something else, and then maybe I'll finish it. And I've been doing that for the last 15 years, I suppose, and acquired about 40-something songs maybe at this point, yeah.
what was it that pushed you to get into songwriting when you started?
Oh, I just thought it was what you do when you play guitar, I guess. I don't know. It's the first thing I did when my buddy taught me a bass line from Nirvana, and then I went home and I made up a little stupid little 2-note song, and I was like, oh, I'm just making up stuff. And then I started learning Nirvana and Rage Against the Machine and all this stuff, and I learned a lot about how to write stuff, how to structure songs in the most simple possible way, because that's how I roll.
So you said 15 years. Is that how long you've been playing guitar for?
Yeah, maybe a little over now. I started when I was 15, like my 15th birthday, basically.
Okay.
And I guess I'll be 33 this year, so yeah.
A little over 15.
Yeah. And it's finally starting to make sense.
All it takes is 15 years, and you too can be in 6 or 7 bands. That's wild.
So you were telling us a little bit earlier that Just Mirlyn is coming up with an album this fall?
Yes, the second album, Sleeves, is what it's called. Title track is Sleeves. And then I got like The Burn, and I Love This Band I played on this here, and a couple other ones that I've been playing at live shows for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Finally finishing, yes.
So so far as work, the things have changed a little bit for musicians in general. How is your lifestyle?
Well, actually, my lifestyle hasn't changed at all. I'm still hanging out at home and playing music at home, but I'm just not going out playing at bars, basically, and working in the fields, spring and fall, just doing what I can with government aid, and pretty much I got my eye out for my next source of income. I'm just switching gears and concentrating on original music and just concentrate all my musical energy on that, and then make money doing some dumb thing that I don't care about.
Has that been a source of inspiration?
What's that?
It's like either people I've encountered have been very inspired by this time of, or it's just like totally like, oh, I have no energy to work, you know?
It's so much like I'm taking advantage of this time that I have. And because I've been wanting to figure out something else, but not really sure how to pull the trigger. And then March, whatever, shut down. And I was like, oh, this is how I do it. Okay. It's time to slowly unplug from what I've been doing and just, yeah, I'm excited actually.
And you're in the process of recording now, or that's where you're going?
At this point, we're always in the process of recording with all these bands. At any given moment, one of these bands is in the middle of recording an album. It's insane and keeps me busy. But what was your question?
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering where you were at in the recording process, or how is it being done?
Yeah, Just Mirlyn's second album, Sleeves. I've got like one or two things to do, like dial back the volume on a solo maybe, and something else, and then it's done completely, all 10 songs, I think.
Do you record these yourself, or do you go to a studio for that?
For Just Mirlyn, we do a lot of tracking in the studio, which is Signature Tone Studios up in Richfield, Adam Tucker. And he's a magic man. He runs the studio and owns the studio, and it's just a really good thing he's got going there.
Is he doing a lot of the recording for like? There's a lot of cross membership in these bands. Is he?
He was the one that Laura mentioned, I think, in our cast.
Probably,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does a lot of the bands that you work with.
Mm-hmm. All of them right now. Yeah.
Okay.
He's done something. We tracked the rhythm tracks and stuff for Balm and Just Mirlyn in the studio, not at the same time, just both those bands. And then for Just Mirlyn, we've recorded a lot of lead guitar stuff, tracked that on our own, and down by New Richland, by my parents' house, and had Forrest in there shredding. It was awesome. Dial that Marshall stack up to 10 and go.
Is that fun? You enjoy time in the studio?
Yeah. Yep. It's yeah. It's kind of what I build myself up to in my brain. Like I get psyched up for recordings and all that. Like live shows, like it's very the high frequency of shows. Kind of I'm just up and down, up into a show, so I just kind of used to that. But when it comes to recording, I gotta like everything's under the microscope, and it's like a whole nother zen thing that I find doing it, and just super excited about you can really dial in tones and sounds, and just everything makes a difference, you know. And
what do you do to prepare for that?
Just I don't know. It's just a lot, half of it is not knowing as much as knowing what you're going to be doing, just to keep it gritty. And like for me anyway, I like to go in to record like lead guitar for Poor Lemuel or Balm. I like to go in with whatever I have built up through live shows and just try to plug that into the song basically, and maybe 3, 4 to 5 takes. By the 5th or 6th take, maybe I'll have it a real good solo locked in, and I keep that.
Yeah, that makes
if that
sense.
answers any questions, I don't know.
Definitely. So what's it like juggling so many projects, and I'm wondering whether the overlap makes it easier or more difficult to keep them separate?
Somehow it's not juggling at all. It's more like they all move at their own pace, And so but we're all kind of in it together, and we all kind of have this mentality of, we all like this awareness of that we're all in these bands, and so we kind of subconsciously do that, I think, because nothing's been muddy at all.
It just sort of works,
yeah.
Comes together. Interesting. And so how many other overlapping people are in those? I know there's some that have multiple, some that maybe just have one.
Mm-hmm. Ben, he's poor Lemuel. He writes all the songs there. He plays bass in Balm, and he writes songs for Watermelon Slush.
Okay.
And then Brent, the drummer, plays drums for Poor Lemuel and Just Mirlyn. And then me, I play for Balm, all those. And I think that's it right now. And then Jason, the bassist for Watermelon Slush, fills in for Ben sometimes with Balm Fields.
Okay.
And he's filled in. He's kind of played some Just Mirlyn shit with me too sometimes. Just Mirlyn stuff.
Okay, that makes some sense. It seems like a lot to organize. Have you done any one big show with a lineup that just runs through it all?
Mm-hmm. We did.
Seems fun.
It was really good. It was at one of the last times there was music at Midtown Tavern.
Oh, really?
It was one of those last couple months. Johnny F did sound, yeah.
I never got to really experience that venue a whole lot. I guess I saw, well, it might have been a couple of small hip hop shows, or I think.
Oh yeah.
But
one of my favorite hip hop shows is there in the recent months.
Do you know anything about what's going on over there? Like, did they end up getting their permit, or is construction stalled? No, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know either. And it's like right next to where I'm at. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I wonder, we talk a lot about how the music scene will come back from the shutdowns and how the different venues will adapt. And I guess I wonder if you have any thoughts on that, maybe something you'd like to see or something you expect to happen.
Well, I can already see there will be a somewhat of a refreshed excitement for original music, just because I think that this all of a sudden we got this outlet for our songs of Mankato with the Ben and Chris's show that you said you heard Coffee on and all that. I just think that is a kind of a big deal as far as getting people excited about music in Mankato. It's like, yeah, I'm excited to see what that blooms into. But otherwise, I mean,
it's tough to know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty with, even the size events that can happen and where they're likely to be. I guess one of the things I'm hopeful for is that Mankato, for a long time, or at least for some chunk of the younger crowd, they didn't like going out to music here. They would just go to the cities because it's close enough. But I wonder if the limitations on some of the larger venues up in the cities or difficulty in travel might make towns the size of Mankato a little bit more, I don't know, better community, better engagement.
Bustling.
People. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thought. Yeah, all the big fish are gonna be skinny, you know.
Yeah,
they're not gonna be. They're gonna be hungry, but they're not gonna have all the things that they had. I think it's gonna be a nice. It's like a good solid prairie fire, you know, with everything that's been happening for things to grow. Basically, it's a big prairie fire.
That's a good way of describing it. I sort of feel that too. I mean, even getting all of my DJ things canceled and our events canceled, like we've had to adapt and grow and and try new things. So it's a really neat opportunity for people to explore what's possible, and whether that's live streams or other interesting ways of getting your art out there. I think it's a fun way to push it forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have been challenging the norms a little bit too. You know, like renegotiating things or how things are going to end up working, because it's just like not the same. I know we've had some conversations about, you know, what success looks like. You know, when you can only have like 40 or 50 people show up to your thing. It's like, well, I don't know actually.
Well, and then balancing the turnout success with some sort of monetary success and paying bands, it's going to be, I mean, that's been an issue for a long time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why I don't even want to worry about it. That's why I want to be playing shows without like money prejudice, you know, where I'm like, oh, but it's only this. It's like I don't want to have to worry about that. So I'm going to find some other income.
And you said you've been doing some farm work then?
Yeah, I do. We apply pig manure.
Okay, to fields, to
Spring and fall, yeah. We drag line from a pump engine through a big old 12-inch fire hose all the way out to the field, dragging behind the tractor. It's a beautiful thing.
I can imagine.
Brown gold.
Is that what they call it in the industry?
Yep.
Do they have to ship that here? Do they?
So the pig barns have million-gallon pits under them, and then
Wow.
we just, pump it. Or what are you saying? Ship?
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was like a market for pig shit. You know,
Yeah. But it's straight from the barn to the field. What we do.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, people do tank it, put it in semi-tanks, and tank it out to a further field somewhere else.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'd heard something that in North Carolina they had like so much that they were so oversaturated with those pools or whatever that it had like been picked up in the wind and just like carried, you know, because there's these ponds are so large.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I mean, obviously we don't have that here.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
They do have lagoons around here, but it's, you know, they're not like that big.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's hairy. The whole business is wild.
But that's been working for you. It's kept you busy this summer, and well, that's good. Yeah, it's interesting making any plans really, or big plans going forward, especially with projects and booking events and things that are just likely to get canceled or be unable to happen. And
yeah, I can't depend on it anymore.
yeah, that's tough. Well, it's good to hear you're adapting, trying new things.
Yeah, it feels good.
Nice. Well, I'm curious about what sort of music do you listen to on your free time?
Right now, I really don't listen to anything. Just my own stuff and what I'm working on. And then silence, and then whatever music is in my head. I kind of let my brain do the music while I'm doing anything throughout the day, and I give myself and my brain that time to just absorb everything that I've done in my life, you know? And it's kind of the key to songwriting. If you want to write a bunch of songs and make them good, you got to give yourself time, and a lot of it with yourself. And yeah, so you're actively writing songs throughout the day. All the time, yeah. It's a muscle actually at this point. It's always so when I say like fun little things here and there, it's just because that's my muscle just doing its thing.
And you ever hear like music in the grocery store and feel slightly interrupted or something?
Yeah, man. It's like my girlfriend will have Alexa on, and it's just like the wrong song comes on. I'm just like, oh. Or in the early mornings, if she's listening to her podcasts, it's just like the last thing I want to hear right now because I just need my own thoughts to start my day, but we work it out.
It's interesting. I feel like I'm kind of the opposite. I wonder if that's why I've written 0 songs ever. I think I like default to tuning into something really, really quickly.
There's also a time in a life too where you do just spend years absorbing, And right now I'm in a part in my life where I'm not absorbing. My cup is full of inspirational music ideas or stuff that I've been absorbing the last however many years. But when I want to chill or like sometimes I just have a wild hair, I might put on some like Massive Attack or some like weird European techno stuff or some like Leo Kottke instrumental or John Fahey acoustic guitar. Ooh, it's good stuff.
Yeah. I saw Leo Kottke last year and it was just totally blew me away.
We saw him at in Red Wing last year, actually. Where'd you see him at?
The Guthrie, he was doing like his Christmas show. I took my mom. Yeah,
he's hilarious too.
Yeah, he's so funny and so good. Yeah. I just like that like storytelling with a guitar thing. Yeah,
really dry jokes.
Yeah, there was one he was tuning up his guitar and he like grabbed a tuner off the floor and he put it on and he just like stopped talking. He's like, well, it certainly has an opinion. And there's probably like 20 people in the audience who are just laughing. Yeah. I mean, but it's true.
Oh man,
that's funny.
He doesn't even he has like a rug that he just lays his guitars on. Like he doesn't even have guitar stands, which I think is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Sort of goofy.
It is that like kind of there's probably is there some word for that kind of like guitar storytelling?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Tongue in cheek? No. I don't know.
I feel like I should know it too. It's like folk music storytelling. I don't know.
Even in listening to some of the songs you played for us today, there's certainly an element of comedy in there and like a little bit of fun playing around with words. Is that something you like to include in your music? Yeah,
as much as I can, because I just don't like to take myself too seriously because it always bites me in the ass.
That's fair.
Yeah. When you're writing a song, is the perception of the audience like their entertainment, is that a key aspect to the song? Sometimes there's a little word that I know people are just gonna love, or like this little thing, it's just gonna be great, but it's not because I thought that they might like it. It's because that's what I thought of or whatever through the songwriting procedure. But I'm conscious of it too, so like it totally affects what I'm doing,
Some part of your process introduces the comedy.
Like exactly. Yeah.
Maybe it's all the pig shit in the field.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Comedic relief.
Yep. Exactly. Just so you can understand what someone is saying a little easier if you like them,
I mean, these songs were written here.
Yeah, exactly.
They do feel tied to the area. I feel like I've heard some of these played out live, and like it feels pertinent. So, yeah, or I don't know, not pertinent, regional or something.
Yeah, I hear that in
vibey.
It's like a Minnesota rural kind of blend hybrid of the folk country. That's where I think it comes in, and I get that a lot with Balm, Lemuel, and I haven't heard as much of Mirlyn, so I don't know if I can comment on that, but in the songs that you played for us today, I got that too for sure. That is neat. I wonder what it's like, the sound of Minnesota, or
there's this I have a song called Midwestern Sound on Just Mirlyn's one. It's on Spotify on Just Mirlyn's first album. If you want to check that out, the track 3, I talk about that a little bit, and there's a sound, and it's not even like country music. That first album is very much 90s rock kind of a thing, and with a little, you can tell I grew up here. There's a certain flavor. Yeah, totally.
How do you feel about your music being on streaming platforms forever?
Awesome.
Yeah. It's like
I feel invincible. Yeah, it's crazy, but I don't have to worry about, like, the only thing I have to worry about is bringing people to it. I don't have to worry about, like, oh God, like how am I gonna mail these songs to people, or how, I don't know how to get the music out there otherwise. If I just have to say, hey, come look at this as many times as I have to, that's fine with me. Also, like YouTube and stuff, I love having it free on there just so you can listen to the whole thing without interruption. But I don't know where you make money exactly in the music business, but I'm trying not to care about it right now.
It's certainly happened to someone before.
Yeah, exactly.
Being involved in a little bit of music, I do wonder what the better way of monetizing and ensuring that artists are getting paid for their work. And I guess a lot of that was live performances. But as a consumer of music, I really love things like Spotify, or I'm sure Apple Music is similar, but being able to curate playlists of all the music, it's just super neat.
Yeah.
And I love being able to be inspired by or like hear of someone, or be inspired to look into somebody a little bit more, and just being able to access their catalog and listen through. And
yeah, totally.
It's fun. It's a good way of interacting with it.
It's an expense at this point, putting it on there, because I'm not going to make any money, and it costs however much to put it on there. But it's just like, that's marketing itself, is having it available, the root of it.
Yeah. I wonder whether coming out of this environment, that'll shift at all. I guess, if you say that live performances were a musician's best or only way to really make money, and now that's not a thing and might be damaged for a while, live streaming hasn't quite captured that same effect. So
no,
I think that's with all that heat from the comment the other day. The CEO of Spotify a couple of weeks ago, he said, well, I don't understand why a musician would think that they can release music every 3 years and make a living. And it was obviously unpopular.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a week of complaining that got from musicians on the internet or whatever. But I mean, from a business perspective of his, yeah, you still sound like a douchebag. I don't know where I'm going with that.
It's a tough position for someone like him to hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just crying in his bags of money.
It's hard for him to say that, because he has no idea what it's like to be a musician trying to make money doing that anyway. But
well, I don't think that, I mean, I don't feel like music is necessarily a choice, and I hardly make it. Like, I feel like talking to you right now that you would continue making music if it was, if it was illegal to monetize it, you know.
For sure.
You just don't get a choice once you start.
Yeah.
So, here we are trying to do our best with what we're given, or the opportunities even. I don't know.
Yeah. That's why I appreciate being here with you, fellas.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you. Should we begin to wrap it up?
Yeah, you want to do plugs?
Yeah. Why don't you tell us where people can find you and your projects?
All right. Well, obviously we got Facebook, and we got just Balm Fields on Facebook. We're hot right now. We got lots of content online and videos. We just played at Beer Brats and Bourbon Thursday, which was awesome. Opened up for Soul Asylum. That was cool. Poor Lemuel, we're recording our 3rd album right now. I have no idea when that's going to be done. Might be next year sometime. No shows right now, but check us out on Facebook and Spotify. B-Bomb's on Spotify too. Same with Just Mirlyn. I don't have any shows coming up with them either. But we got the 2nd album coming up. Look for that online because I'll be posting that on Facebook or on Instagram and all that in the next month probably. It'll be like a autumn release. And I think Watermelon Slush is going to start recording too real soon once I get some equipment squared away. And yeah, we got all that is on Facebook. You can YouTube Watermelon Slush and we got a couple songs on there if you'd like to know how we sound. And
You got a lot of projects. Is that it?
yeah, Nirvana's quiet right now.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever do any recording with Nirvana, or is that a live performance?
That's just live, yeah.
Just live. I guess that's Nirvana cover. So
But we have played like Ocho's originals in the band a bunch of times. For Moonfest, actually, it was kind of a hodgepodge Nirvana mixed with like just Ocho's friends, you know.
that was a really cool show, actually. I really enjoyed that thoroughly, and Ocho's energy at that show was something else too.
Yeah.
He and Betty really took it to the next level.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, that makes the about 6th podcast that Ocho's been mentioned in too.
We really got to get him on here one of these times.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. Thanks for playing us some songs. Those will be released over the next couple of weeks or months as your projects develop, and we're really excited for the future recordings.
Thank you, guys.